Hey, welcome back. This is my second video. As you can see in the title, this video is about CB radios and the death of the CB radio, and why I think the death of the CB radio has been the death of the trucking industry for years and years now. So I've always sworn by the CB radio and how it's a safety device and a great tool for anybody in trucking. And it's almost, I would almost argue that it should be required to keep it on. Now I get that's never going to happen, and you get a phone call or this, that, and the other, and you got to turn the radio off. However, back in the good old days when we all used to run a CB radio and everybody had one on, you could run from California to New York and always have somebody to talk to the whole time. And a few things it did for you is, a lot of the new guys just don't understand this because they've never run one. A few things it did for you was it was a complete and total boredom killer. You were never bored with your CB on when everybody's using it. You didn't see a lot of people on their cell phones, hardly at all. I used to never see people on their cell phone when you have a CB on all the time. You're too busy talking. You're too busy having a conversation. One of the first long trips I ever did was about 920 miles in one day. It was way back when I was first starting. I did that because I was running with a guy that I knew from my company from Laramie, Wyoming, all the way back to Illinois, and we talked the whole time. It keeps you awake. But more importantly, it's a humongous safety device. If you have not been on the internet recently and seen all the truck pileups and these winter pileups and these crashes, I cannot believe it happens so often. There was a big one in Battle Creek, Michigan back in 2015 or 16, I can't remember. I had driven right through that storm that night, like 2 or 3 in the morning on my way back to Grand Rapids at the time I was living there. So I drove through there, and I was doing about 20 miles an hour the whole way. It took me like 4 hours to get to where I was going to get out of that storm. And then the next morning I see this 194 vehicle pileup. And it's all over YouTube. We've all seen it, or you should have seen it. And if you haven't seen it, go just Google Battle Creek winter pileup or something. I'm sure it's out there. But if everybody had a CB on, that wreck would have probably never happened. Now you can argue, and a lot of guys will argue, that being a good driver, smart, and driving slow and paying attention, yeah, you should be driving like that anyway. But let's assume that all of the drivers out there were the dumbest drivers on earth, and none of them were paying attention, and they're all driving too fast. But throw in one factor: everybody has a CB radio on, and one guy out front says there's a wreck up here. Lets everybody behind him know that the road's closed and you're going to smash into a bunch of stuff. You keep going. At least most people would have the smarts to slow down. I don't know how many times I've been in a situation where, not saying I would have wrecked, but knowing that something was ahead of me absolutely made it impossible to wreck, because I knew it was up there. So I slowed down, moved over, whatever, and I just knew it was coming. The most common use was avoiding getting a ticket back in the good old days, but I'm going to spend a lot of effort to try and get people to get back on the CB radio, learn the trade, learn how to work the radio, learn how to take it to, get the SWR set up if you're working on it yourself. And I don't know how to do that. I take a CB guy. I'm not an electrician. But get a good quality radio, take it to CB guy, have him set the SWRs up, and learn how to use the radio. And you don't have to, there's no training involved. Just get on and start talking to people. But again, I'll swear the death of the trucking industry is partly in part due to the death of the CB radio. We stopped talking to each other and we stopped communicating years ago. And now we've got e-logs and all this emissions crap on these trucks. And if you're a truck driver and you've been out here for longer than 12 weeks, I think we could all agree that e-logs suck. That's going to be a whole nother video at some point on why e-logs are trash and terrible, and why I believe they came about. But that's my 2 cents on the CB radio. So comment or let me know your opinion on CB radio. If you've ever had one, am I right? Am I wrong? I'm open to opinion and argument, so let me know.